We often think of failure as a conclusion, a final chapter in the story of our efforts. When we fall short, when plans don't unfold the way we envisioned, when rejection stings or setbacks knock the wind out of us, the instinct is to see failure as proof that we weren't good enough, that we weren't capable, that maybe we were foolish to try in the first place. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? Think about some of the greatest accomplishments in history. Every major breakthrough, every revolution, every world-changing idea was preceded by failure. In fact, failure wasn't just a part of the process, it was the process. Thomas Edison's thousands of failed attempts at inventing the light bulb weren't roadblocks, they were stepping stones. Michael Jordan, often regarded as one of the greatest basketball players of all time, was cut from his high school basketball team. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. The people we admire, the ones who changed the world, didn't succeed because they avoided failure. They succeeded because they saw failure as the beginning of something greater. Failure strips away illusion. It forces us to reassess, to learn, to adapt. It humbles us and challenges us to dig deeper, to rethink our approach, to refine our vision. It eliminates what doesn't work so we can focus on what does. It is the point at which we either give up or rise up. And the truth is, most people give up not because they lack talent, skill, or intelligence, but because they misinterpret failure. They see it as a signal to stop, when it's actually an invitation to start again, only this time with more knowledge, more resilience, more clarity. When we treat failure as the end, we rob ourselves of the opportunity to grow into the person we're meant to become. We forget that every time we fall, we are given a choice: stay down and accept defeat, or stand back up and keep moving. The ones who succeed, the ones who make a difference, are not the ones who never fail, but the ones who refuse to let failure be the final word. We are conditioned to believe that success is the reward, that the prize, the trophy, the recognition, the outcome is what we should be chasing. We set goals, we put in the effort, and we expect a result that validates our work. But what happens when things don't go as planned, when the outcome isn't what we wanted, when we fall short despite our best efforts? Most people see these moments as wasted time, as energy spent for nothing, as proof that they weren't good enough. But those who truly understand growth see something different. They see that the real reward isn't in the outcome at all. It's in the lesson learned along the way. Think about the last time you failed at something. Maybe it was a project that didn't take off, a relationship that didn't work out, a goal you worked toward that fell apart at the last second. At first, all you saw was the disappointment, the frustration, maybe even the embarrassment. But if you looked closer, there was something else hiding underneath all of that. A lesson. A piece of wisdom you didn't have before, a realization about what to do differently next time, a deeper understanding of yourself, of your strengths and weaknesses. Every mistake, every wrong turn, every misstep is teaching us something. It's showing us what works and what doesn't. It's refining our approach, sharpening our instincts, and preparing us for something greater. The irony is, the more we fail, the more we learn. And the more we learn, the better we become. If we measure success only by external achievements, we miss the most valuable part of the journey, the transformation that happens within us. Look at the people who are the best in their field, whether it's business, sports, art, or any other domain. They didn't get there by avoiding failure. They got there because they paid attention to the lessons failure was teaching them. They understood that every setback was a classroom, every challenge was a teacher, and every failure was an opportunity to grow. Most people want the reward without the struggle. They want the shortcut, the easy route, the guaranteed win. But growth doesn't happen that way. It happens in the moments when things don't go as planned, when we are forced to confront our own shortcomings, when we have to ask ourselves, What can I do better? Embrace the pain, but don't dwell. Pain is uncomfortable. It's raw. It's heavy. It lingers in ways we wish it wouldn't. When we experience failure, rejection, or loss, our first instinct is to run from the pain, to numb it, to distract ourselves, to pretend it doesn't exist. We tell ourselves to move on quickly, to push it down, to act like it never happened. But what if avoiding pain is actually what keeps us stuck? Pain has a purpose. It is a signal, a teacher, a force that demands our attention. It tells us when something matters. It shows us where we need to grow. It forces us to look at ourselves in ways we wouldn't otherwise. And the truth is, if we don't face it, we carry it. It doesn't disappear just because we ignore it. It buries itself deep inside us, shaping our thoughts, our actions, our fears, and our limits in ways we don't even realize. That's why embracing the pain is necessary. It means allowing ourselves to feel it, to acknowledge the disappointment, the frustration, the anger, the sadness. It means sitting with those emotions long enough to understand them, long enough to learn what they are trying to tell us. Because every pain has a lesson hidden within it. Every setback is trying to reveal something we need to know. But we can't access that wisdom if we refuse to acknowledge the pain in the first place. However, embracing the pain is not the same as dwelling in it. There is a fine line between processing an experience and becoming trapped by it. Some people get stuck in their pain, replaying their failures over and over, using them as proof that they aren't good enough, that they'll never succeed, that trying again isn't worth it. They build their identity around their suffering, allowing it to define them instead of refine them. The key is to let pain inform you, not consume you. To recognize that while pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. That while it's okay to grieve what didn't go as planned, it's not okay to let it stop you from moving forward. That while failure may hurt, it does not have to break you. When we embrace pain without dwelling in it, we allow it to transform us instead of paralyze us. We take control of the narrative, using our struggles as fuel instead of chains. We stop seeing pain as something to fear and start seeing it as part of the process, an essential ingredient in the making of something stronger, wiser, and more resilient. A strong why overcomes any how. Every great achievement, every act of perseverance, every story of resilience has one thing in common: a deep, unshakable sense of purpose. The people who push through adversity, who rise after failure, who keep moving forward despite overwhelming obstacles, aren't necessarily the smartest, the most talented, or the most skilled. What sets them apart is their reason for doing what they do. When you have a powerful enough why, no obstacle is too big, no failure is too devastating, no challenge is insurmountable, because the strength of your why determines the strength of your perseverance. The problem is, most people focus too much on how they're going to achieve something and not enough on why they need to achieve it in the first place. They obsess over strategies, tactics, and external validation without first anchoring themselves in a purpose that can carry them through the inevitable difficulties ahead. The how will always be uncertain. Plans change, strategies fail, circumstances shift. The path you thought was a straight line turns into a maze. If you rely only on the how, you will give up the moment things don't go as expected. But when your why is clear, the how becomes secondary. You find a way. You adapt. You endure. Because failure isn't a reason to stop. It's just another step on the path to fulfilling that deeper purpose. History is filled with examples of people who should have failed but didn't. People who defied all logic, all odds, all expectations, simply because their why was bigger than their obstacles. Think about someone like Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison but never abandoned his vision for justice. Or Helen Keller, who was deaf and blind, but still became a renowned author, speaker, and activist. Or the countless entrepreneurs, athletes, and artists who were told no over and over again, but refused to accept it because their purpose was bigger than any rejection. They weren't just driven by ambition. They were fueled by something deeper, something so powerful that no setback could take it away from them. That's why the most important question you can ask yourself isn't, how do I get there? But why must I get there? Because when your why is strong enough, the how always reveals itself. And here's the truth. Your why isn't just about you. It's about the impact you create, the lives you touch, the difference you make. The strongest whys are the ones that extend beyond personal gain. They are the ones rooted in service, in meaning, in something that endures far beyond individual success. When you connect your actions to something greater than yourself, motivation isn't something you have to find, it's something that finds you. But if your why is weak, if it's based only on superficial rewards or fleeting desires, you will struggle to keep going when things get hard. Passion fades, excitement dies, willpower runs out. The only thing strong enough to sustain you through adversity is a purpose so deeply ingrained in you that quitting is simply not an option. Surround yourself with believers. No one succeeds alone. No one overcomes failure, doubt, or fear entirely by themselves. No matter how driven, talented, or resilient you are, there will be moments when you question yourself, when the weight of your struggles feels unbearable, when the voice of doubt grows louder than the voice of confidence. And in those moments, the people around you, the ones who believe in you, even when you struggle to believe in yourself, can make all the difference. Who you surround yourself with shapes who you become. Their words become your internal dialogue. Their energy becomes your energy. Their mindset influences your mindset. If you spend your time around people who see limitations, who dwell on obstacles, who tell you all the reasons why something won't work, it won't be long before you start believing them. Doubt is contagious. Fear spreads quickly. And before you know it, you'll start shrinking your dreams to fit their expectations. But when you surround yourself with believers, people who see your potential, who push you to be better, who remind you of what you're capable of, you rise, you grow, you become stronger. Because belief is contagious too. And when someone genuinely believes in you, they help you see possibilities where you once saw barriers. They remind you that setbacks are just setups for something greater. They don't let you stay in a place of self-pity or regret. They challenge you to keep moving forward. Think about the most successful people in any field. Behind every great athlete, there's a coach who never stopped pushing them. Behind every visionary leader, there's a mentor who helped them see what was possible. Behind every artist, every entrepreneur, every innovator, there's a support system that played a crucial role in their journey. It's not about blind encouragement. It's about having people who hold you accountable, who push you to grow, who see the best in you, even when you're struggling to see it yourself. But here's the thing. Finding the right people isn't just about luck. It's a choice. It's about intentionally seeking out those who uplift you and distancing yourself from those who drain you. Because the truth is, not everyone will understand your vision. Not everyone will support your journey. Some people will project their own fears onto you. Some will discourage you because they don't want to see you outgrow them. Some will be so focused on their own limitations that they won't be able to see your potential. That's why it's critical to choose wisely. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, who inspire you, who remind you of your why when you start to forget it. People who celebrate your progress, not just your success. People who see failure as a lesson, not a death sentence. People who remind you that giving up is not an option. Because when the road gets tough, and it won't always be your own strength that keeps you going. Sometimes it will be the unwavering belief of those who refuse to let you quit. And in those moments, their belief in you might just be the thing that helps you believe in yourself again. Setbacks are inevitable. No matter how talented, hardworking, or prepared you are, there will be moments when things don't go your way. Plans will fall apart, doors will close, people will doubt you, you will experience failure, rejection, and disappointment. And in those moments, it's easy to see setbacks as proof that you're not good enough, that maybe this dream of yours isn't meant to happen, that you should just stop trying and settle for something safer. But what if setbacks aren't meant to stop you? What if they are actually setting you up for something greater? The most successful people in the world don't have fewer setbacks than others. In fact, they often have more. The difference is how they interpret those setbacks. They don't see them as the end of the road. They see them as a redirection, a lesson, a setup for something even better. They understand that failure is often just feedback. Life's way of pointing you toward a better approach, a different perspective, or a stronger version of yourself. Take Steve Jobs, for example. He was fired from the very company he founded. To most people, that would have been a devastating career-ending failure. But instead of letting it define him, he used that time to innovate, to refine his ideas, to build something even better. And years later, he returned to Apple, leading it to become one of the most successful companies in the world. His setback was actually a setup for his greatest comeback. Or think about J.K. Rowling. She was rejected by multiple publishers before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. If she had taken those rejections as a final defeat, millions of people would have never experienced her stories. But she understood that rejection wasn't a dead end, it was just part of the process. This is the mindset that separates those who succeed from those who give up. When you shift your perspective and start seeing setbacks as setups, everything changes. That job you didn't get, maybe it's making room for a better opportunity. That relationship that ended, maybe it's clearing space for the right person to come into your life. That idea that failed, maybe it's refining your approach so you can build something even stronger. Setbacks test you. They force you to ask yourself, how much do I really want this? They demand that you dig deeper, that you grow, that you push beyond your comfort zone. And that's where transformation happens. Not when everything is easy, but when you're challenged in ways you never expected. The truth is, if everything always worked out the first time, you wouldn't develop resilience. You wouldn't grow stronger. You wouldn't gain the wisdom that comes from struggle. The people who achieve greatness aren't the ones who never fail. They are the ones who refuse to start seeing every setback as a setup for a bigger opportunity. You stop fearing failure. You stop seeing obstacles as barriers and start seeing them as stepping stones. You start realizing that sometimes what feels like the worst thing that could happen to you is actually the best thing that could happen for you.